Many thanks for still staying with us. The newly sworn-in Chief Justice has been charged to undertake judicial reforms that will lead to the timeless delivery of justice in the country. Member of Parliament's Judicial Committee, Roxin Dafiamakbo, called for immediate reforms that will help ensure the speedy adjudication of cases in court.
Of the citizenry to have easy access to justice delivery in the country has begun in earnest, and she will take the opportunity to continue, particularly by establishing high courts in most municipalities in the country, by taking the opportunity to also establish circuit courts in most of the circuits in the country, and particularly by bringing justice to the very doorsteps of the people in our very localities, by ensuring that district courts are established in all the 216 districts in this country. Mr. Speaker, may I further say that as lawyers, we are often fortified in the certainty of the jurisprudence that the Supreme Court has used in all matters. And it's about 5 or 6 years ago, the jurisprudence or the thinking of the Supreme Court in matters like divorce or in matrimonial matters appears to be panning from the philosophy exuded in the case of Mensah versus Mensah to Rabero and Rabero. Mr. Speaker, we want to urge that the Supreme Court will finally bring a certain final position on the thinking of the court when it comes to matrimonial matters that are often find their way before the apex court. That she should take steps that where on legal matters such as the jurisprudence of bail, where the Supreme Court now says that, and even in high crimes, bail, the accused persons are admissible to bail, but such decisions are ignored by the lower courts, that the Supreme Court will take steps to ensure that the lower courts abide by the decision, even though that is constitutionally given. It is part of our jurisprudence that decisions of the Supreme Court are bound, the lower courts are bound by decisions of the Supreme Court.
Okaikwe North Member of Parliament Patrick Yabuoma backed that call.
These constitutional instruments are brought before us. The judicial service must take a keen interest in it, Mr. Speaker, because when the filing fees were increased, the bar came against this House for having increased the filing fees and what have you. But it's the learned Chief Justice who chairs that committee that brings these rules to the House for its passage, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've also read certain decisions of the CJ nominee, and I also want to remind her as the House approves her. In Sam versus the Attorney General, 1999 2 JLR, at page 36, especially at page 367. Mr. Speaker, and I read, it is therefore the intent of the Ghanaian Constitution 1992 that every citizen should play an active role in its enforcement, so that there will never again be in this country a conspiracy of silence that results in the emasculation of the citizenry and the destruction of constitutionalism.
President Akuffo says his government will not serve as a buffer for supporters of the governing New Patriotic Party who fall foul of the law. He said he will not falter to ensure that the law of the country is applied to the letter without fear or favor. At the swearing-in ceremony of the new Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo at the State House in Accra on Monday, the president registered his disapproval of clashes last Thursday between some NPP youth and police in Savalogu.
Use this occasion to assure the country that my government will not shield anyone found to have broken the laws of this country. Application of the laws of the land must occur, in the words of the judicial oath, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and therefore without recourse to the political, religious, or ethnic affiliations of any citizen of the land. When you fall foul of the law, you must be dealt with accordingly, and the law enforcement agencies, including the judiciary, must ensure this is done. To persons perpetrating acts of lawlessness in the name of being members of the ruling party, let me make it clear to you that you will find no shield in my government from the law. Recent disturbances in Savelugu, for example, where allegedly a handful of party executives and youth are trying to prevent the municipal chief executive, who has been duly appointed with the requisite approval of the municipal assembly, from working, are obviously unacceptable. I urge the police to do everything in their power to bring to book all those who fall foul of the law. We cannot have development which will bring jobs to our youth without order. With the Office of the Special Prosecutor in the offing to ensure the prosecution of public officials, past and present, who engage in acts of corruption and financial malfeasance, it is my expectation that the judiciary will help facilitate the work of this body. Let me extend my appreciation to Justice William Atugua for holding the fort, even if briefly, as acting Chief Justice during the period of the retirement of Chief Justice Georgina Wood and the swearing into office today of Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo. I observed that during the vetting process of Justice Sophia Akuffo in Parliament on Friday, June 16, he, together with other members of the Supreme Court, were present in Parliament to lend their support to her nomination. This was a highly commendable gesture. I'm hopeful that this same level of support will be extended as she assumes the mantle of head of the judiciary. To her colleagues on the bench and to members of the bar, I urge your continued solidarity and cooperation with the new Chief Justice to promote the rule of law. That will be in line with the finest traditions of the bench and the bar and will help advance the welfare of our people. We are determined to build a new Ghanaian civilization where the rule of law is not a slogan, but an operating principle for the development of our state, where the separation of powers is real and meaningful, where public officials behave with honesty and integrity, where the liberties and rights of our people are fully protected, and where law and order provide a firm basis for our social and economic development, so that the dreams of freedom and prosperity that animated the great patriots who founded our nation can find expression in our generation. All of us, from the public sector, the security agencies, the private sector, the political parties, the civil society, the religious bodies, and the traditional authorities have a joint responsibility to work together with our different views and different perspectives for the Ghana project, a united Ghana, governed according to the rule of law, respect for individual liberties, human rights, and the principles of democratic accountability. A Ghana that meets fundamental requirements of social justice and solidarity. And a Ghana where we look past commodities to position our country in the global marketplace. We should all work to free ourselves from a mindset of dependence, aid, charity, and handouts, and rather concentrate on mobilizing Ghana's own considerable resources to resolve Ghana's problems. It is a collective enterprise to which we should all commit ourselves in unity and in sincerity. For my part, I have an unshakable faith in the boundless prospects of Ghana's future and will work for it, the radiance of the Black Star.
President Akuffo there. Meanwhile, the new Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Sophia Akuffo, promised to uphold the rule of law.
As indicated during my vetting by the Appointments Committee on Friday, 16th June 2017, I'm passionate about integrity, the delivery of quality justice, and the development and stability of our nation, and will strive to demonstrate these passions throughout my tenure in the high office of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. The judiciary is indeed the bulwark of our democracy and the defender of the rule of law. A nation breaks down and descends into anarchy if its judicial system breaks down, and I will pursue measures to protect the integrity of the institution, shore up and elevate its image. In doing this, I will be counting on the support and cooperation of the other arms of government, which are headed by Your Excellency, Mr. President, and the Right Honorable Speaker. The judiciary has diligently worked for and obtained a large measure of independence. This is, however, made incomplete by the lack of financial independence, and that is an objective I would like to achieve during my tenure as Chief Justice. The vetting process last week brought into perspective several matters about the judiciary which the good people of Ghana have concerns. These include the integrity of the judiciary and the perception of corruption, political influence and other influences on the judiciary, the conditions of service of judges and magistrates, the infrastructure of the judicial service, that is, courtrooms and residences, delays in justice delivery, loss of confidence in the justice system, and the related issue of mob action, conduct of members of the bar, and legal education in Ghana. These are major issues I will address and find solutions to as I assume office. The judiciary requires the full support of all citizens and institutions in Ghana. Its success means the success of Ghana and our democratic endeavor. I cannot but restate, as I did at the vetting session, that it is when the justice system breaks down that a nation breaks down. In conclusion, I wish to thank Your Excellency, Parliament, and the Council of State once again for my appointment. And I commend very highly the immediate past Chief Justice for her invaluable contribution to the judiciary